Good morning, everybody. Let's get this going. All right, spinning wheel 1 and 2. Welcome in. It is Tuesday morning, the 4th of April, and it's time for an episode of Broncos for Breakfast. I am Nick Kendell, and joined by nobody today. I'm running solo. Scott is doing some family bonding time down in Orlando, Florida, so I'm sure it's a good time. Told Scott, don't worry about it. Make sure you go have fun with the family because Lord knows when the summer comes around, I am going to be not spending quality family time. I'm going to be spending quality time with myself somewhere deep in the backcountry in Washington State, maybe California too. But welcome in, everybody. This will be a shorter show today, and we'll break down some of the news. And honestly, the show is going to go as long as you guys are contributing to the chat and dropping supers / interesting questions, and as long as my voice can hold up as well. So, yeah, I'm doing well. Excited for the show today, as always. Went to Bark at the Park last night with the dog and my partner, Natalie, and I did the whole, Simba thing. And he's a 75-pound golden retriever, and he's a little bit squiggly. So that was its own thing, but it was fun to go to the Mariners game last night and see a Ohtani home run as well. But yeah, nothing too much to report here. Just counting down to the days till summer and excited for the draft. God, let's have a lot of draft questions today. First, let's say hello to some people in the chat here. Jeremy Sean A coming in. Morning, Nick. Hope Scott is soaking up the Florida sun. I don't know if Scott would want to soak up the Florida sun. Scott is a lighter complexioned individual, as am I, and soaking up that sun sometimes can result in a little bit of a red tinge. So hopefully Scott is using sunscreen and protecting himself. But he says it's a wet morning in Denver. Wet and not snowing. I mean, I know April could be pretty darn interesting out there in Colorado this time of year. So hopefully you guys are having okay weather. I think they have like incredible tornado warnings again today, and from southern Minnesota all the way to Arkansas. So thoughts and prayers with those folks out there in the Midwest. It sounds like they're going to get another horrible line of storms today. So hopefully not another couple F4 tornadoes or whatever they had this last week. That was insane. Kevin Gray coming in saying, good morning, Broncos country, Nick and Scott. I hope you get a better center than what they have. Yeah, I think the Broncos are definitely in the market for a center, but there's just not many options left. I mean, believe Connor McGovern, Missouri Connor McGovern, is still out there. There's like Rodney Hudson is still out there. I don't think he's officially retired. Somebody in the chat can correct me if I'm wrong there, but center's definitely in position. This team still needs help. Probably the team that needs the most help with a starting caliber player, other than running back. I still think running back is up there. Samaje Perine, solid number 2 back, even better number 3 back. But Tyler Beatty, I mean, he's maybe going to make the team. I don't want him to be taking a lot of snaps like next season based on what we've seen. And Javonte Williams, I think if he plays one snap next season, I will consider it a pleasant surprise. I think they're going to be conservative with him, and I hope for his own sake, he's conservative. Don't rush back. Got to be 100% healthy, or at least as close to that as anybody can be. But rushing back from tearing 2 ligaments in your knee seems like a terrible decision for somebody who's going to be looking for a second contract here pretty soon. So hopefully he can be as healthy as possible when that comes up for himself personally. Dave Glassman says, let's go. Good to see you, Dave. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate everybody coming in the chat and hanging out with me this morning. We got Bruce McGinnis coming in saying, good morning, guys. Thoughts on a few cornerbacks who will be with us in the range to draft? 3rd or 4th round options. It's so hard to say who's going to be around when the Broncos are picking finally there. I mean, last season we were mocking Tariq Woolen middle of the 2nd round, and he goes early 5th. Or excuse me, yeah, he was going off the board sometimes middle of the 2nd round, and he went early 5th, and he was 2nd best cornerback in the draft last season. So it's hard to say. I mean, maybe somebody like a Julius Brents. Julius Brents could go in the top 40, or he could fall to 75. That's somebody whose name has been out there. I know that Tyreek Stevenson seems to be a cornerback that's in the Broncos range pretty often. Cornerback from Miami. He had a pretty good Senior Bowl press man corner. He's a long, good athlete, kind of guy that you hopefully could be a starter sometime at the position. Maybe not year 1, but down the line, it's certainly possible. Cam Phillips, another one. He's a little bit small, but he's tenacious, got great ball skills out of Utah. I need to remember to keep saying that. But Cam Phillips is a guy that we're going to talk a little bit about later. Very small, not an incredible athlete, but great instincts, and has been mostly being mocked, I believe, middle of round 2, but could be there. DJ Turner, cornerback from Michigan. If you guys recall, I think it was 2 mock draft Mondays ago. Scott and I had DJ Turner fall to the 4th round, and we were talking, could go running back, center. I'm like, listen, DJ Turner ran like a 4.38, and he's dynamic. He's a really good player. He had great tape at Michigan this season. We're taking DJ Turner. So he's one that could be available. I think he's probably more of a late 2nd to mid 3rd rather than 4th round where we got him, but he's somebody to keep an eye on. And then the last one that comes to mind to me is Darius Rush, who didn't have an incredible career at South Carolina, but tested extremely well, really looked the part at the Senior Bowl this year. Maybe was even the best cornerback at the Senior Bowl. Outshined, I think, athletic profile-wise, outshines Cam Smith, who got much more of the hype at South Carolina this last season. So there's some cornerback options. I know the Broncos had been doing work on cornerbacks as well, a good bit. And right now, just the cornerback depth is relatively non-existent. There's not a single cornerback specifically on the boundary that any of us should feel good about taking the field if one of the Broncos 2 starters gets out. Heck, we should have probably some questions about the Broncos number 2 cornerback now. Saw enough last year from Darius Mathis that you are okay going with him to him next season. And if he struggles, then it becomes a massive position of need for the Broncos in 2024. But I think the Broncos are willing to go cost-controlled, hope for the best there this season. But the depth, they need to solidify the position with depth, without a doubt in my mind. You're only as good as your weakest cornerback out there, and right now the Broncos' 2nd string at cornerback is not great. Thank you for the question, Bruce. You can definitely get me going on the draft. Mark Schrader coming in saying, good morning, all. Good morning to you, Mark. Always appreciate you coming in and saying hello. Hope you're doing well down there in Texas. Hopefully it's warmer down there than it is here, man. We've been having just insane cold spell after cold spell out here in the Pacific Northwest. They said this upcoming weekend was supposed to be beautiful. Guess what? Nope. Going to be in like the 50s, 40s, and maybe with thunderstorms. So pretty rare to have thunderstorms out here in Seattle. But good to see you, Mark. Hope you're doing well. And you guys got to bear with me here. I haven't had a single sip of coffee yet. This is just going off of pure football, love of the chat, adrenaline. So one moment. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Lance coming in saying, good morning, fellas. Catching you 2 live 2 days in a row. Miracles never cease. Dang it, Lance. It's only me. Sorry, you're going to have to come back and keep working on that streak because you're not catching us 2 live. Catching me, but it's great to have you, Lance. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good Monday and hope you have a great Tuesday. We got our guy Sun E Days coming in. For those listening after the fact, if you're listening after the fact on iTunes, make sure you leave us a 5-star rating and review. But to describe the emojis here, smiley face, cup of coffee, thumbs up, orange heart, blue heart, orange heart, blue heart. Thank you, Sunny Days. All those back at you times 2. But we hope you're having a good one. Thanks for joining us. Facebook user saying, what's up, Nick? Not too much, just exhausted. Had way too much fun this weekend and then parlayed that into the baseball game last night. And I'm excited to have nothing on the schedule tonight besides hanging out with you guys again at Building the Broncos with Carl. But I'm doing pretty well, just pretty darn tired. I'm hoping today's not a rough one at work. Achy Dragon, time to make the donuts. I've never made a donut before. It sounds like a good time. But heck, I'm a donut fan for sure. Although I like bagels more than donuts. Bagels are better. Michael Rakio saying, good morning, Nick, on Broncos for breakfast. Go Broncos and Buckham. Thank you so much, Michael. It's always good to see you. We always appreciate the support coming in here. Out there in Tucson, Arizona, Michael comes in, kicks off the show big time. He always closes out the show big time, too. One of the main benefactors of the show. So God bless you, Michael. Feeling the love. Keith, Alyssa, Danabaum coming in saying, shout out from Kansas. Hashtag Buckham. Make sure you keep your feet on the ground. I don't know if you guys got any storms coming that way today, but make sure you're doing okay. Holy Diver says Scott's camera is not working. His mic isn't either. What's going on? Scott, hey. Nope, he's not here. Michaela Israel saying good morning, guys. And Michaela says where she's at in Colorado, it's freezing rain. I can't think of something worse than freezing rain. It sounds horrible. So, I've witnessed it before. In Seattle, they don't use salt because the sound, it will kill the marine biology. So they don't use salt on the roads. And it's a super hilly city. So once we get freezing rain, God bless. If you have to go anywhere, you're in trouble. So we also good luck with the freezing rain. Hopefully they can at least salt your streets and you can get out there if you have to, but hopefully you don't have to get out there. Chase Wellner saying Nick frickin' Kendell. Is that my wife? That's what she typically said. Nick frickin' Kendell? No, just kidding. My wife is lovely. Jeremy else says light snow melting immediately. Okay. Well, that's Good. Stay safe out there. Keith, Alyssa, Danabom saying, what's your thoughts on Kyle Fuller? He is a center the Broncos brought in my opinion, that is somebody that can help take snaps and can be a backup center, but you are hoping that you do not need him come August. He's somebody that is not still on the roster when you cut down to the 53. He is competent backup center. I don't know if he can play backup to any other spots, which is not great for a backup. But you have somebody out there that at least if like Cushenberry gets hurt, you don't have to completely change your alignment of the rest of the offensive line to run a practice. Like right now, if you didn't have Kyle Fuller and Lloyd Cushenberry, knock on wood, I'm not pulling for him to get injured, but hopefully if Lloyd Cushenberry got hurt, then are you moving Quinn Miners to center to snap the ball? Or is it going to be, you want to make sure that guys like Quinn Miners specifically are practicing at the spot they're going to play. So bringing in Kyle Fuller just allows you to run practices more. You need more guys who can snap the ball. And worst case, you are weak, but okay, relative okay, going into the season with Cushenberry followed by Fuller on the depth chart at center. But that seems to be at least my consensus on the situation. Achy Dragon, my consensus doesn't make any sense. My thoughts. Achy Dragon, the draft is just another reminder that awful trade that never seems to stop taunting us. I don't know what you're talking about. It's definitely not the Russell Wilson trade where the Broncos gave up all those picks and signed a bad contract. Couldn't be that one. I'm not getting taunted for that. Definitely a bummer. It's kind of funny. I'm a masochist, I guess. So yeah, that's why I wake up at midnight to go hike 20 miles or something. But it's kind of funny to think like, oh, who could have the Broncos had at 5 overall? One of those quarterbacks would have been pretty great. I mean, gosh, they would have signed back Teddy Bridgewater and kept Drew Lock for one more year. Then we'd have been picking 5 overall. Maybe we wouldn't have been that bad. Maybe it would have been worse. But then we'd be in the conversation of, CJ Stroud, Will Levis, Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson. That'd be a little different. Granted, the quarterback conversations here can be pretty pretty interesting when there's a difference of opinion. But it would be interesting. Clayton Huron saying, morning, Broncos country. Smash that like button and share. Thank you so much, Clayton, doing our work for us. Says Solo Nick. Heard things are shaking up for our 3rd round picks. What would you do with them and the rest of them? Man, I just have such a milquetoast opinion on this, I guess I'll put it that way. But really, it's going to depend on what the board says. If the board falls to them and the best player there is, I'll just use, for the sake of me being a biased homer, Jack Campbell's there. Then I'd be like, okay, well, we don't really need a linebacker right now, but could we use a 10-year player with a high floor that's a team leader? Sure, even if the positional value isn't as high. So Jack Campbell, could the Broncos use a wide receiver there? Absolutely. It's one of the best tight end draft classes in a decade. Do we need a tight end immediately day one this year? No. Would it be nice to have another great player there? Absolutely. Overall, I am probably biased still towards the value positions in that spot. So offensive tackle, cornerback, edge rusher / defensive line, wide receiver. But really could go just a number of ways with that. So we'll see what the Broncos do. We'll see if they're picking at 67 and 68. I think, okay, the most ideal situation is that one of the best centers, one of the ones who is the day one ready player, which seems a little bit like an oxymoron at center because that doesn't typically happen for rookies. But if there is one who you feel okay with day one that you could have at pick 67, 68, that would be incredible. That'd probably be the best case scenario. But will Steve Avila be there? Will Joe Tippmann be there? Will John Michael Schmitz be there? I don't know. I don't know. And then I don't really feel great about Luke Weipler there. I don't really feel great about Olu there or any of the other center prospects really at that spot. So we'll see. Chase Wallen with a smile. Good to see you. Achy Dragon coming in and saying Josh Downs is interesting. Yeah, he's pretty slept on. I think he's being mocked mostly. Let me see. Let me pull up the consensus big board here. Yeah, 46. So pretty well out of the range of the Broncos. But that's one that you definitely want to keep an eye on if he was there for the Broncos. Clayton also says, I think our cornerbacks will thrive under PS2. Clayton, I think when you're playing good quarterbacks, excuse me, you want to have multiple good cornerbacks out there because, you're old enough to remember the Champ Bailey years. And when you had Champ Bailey out there, obviously it was great to have Champ Bailey. But if your other cornerback was struggling, guess what? Champ Bailey was schemed out of the game by the other team. Peyton Manning would not even look at the side of the field where Champ was, instead pick on Lenny Walls or Dre Bly or somebody like that over and over and over again. So you need to have, it's like a positive reinforcement loop or positive feedback loop where if you have a good cornerback on one side, they're going to pick on that one, but if you have a good cornerback on that side too, then you're forcing them to at least have to challenge PS2. So if you have a demigod cornerback and then a bad cornerback on the other side, they're just not. They're going to scheme him out. So you want to watch out for those cornerbacks if you don't have good depth there. Angela coming in here. Angel, excuse me, Angel. I see you. Says, good morning, Broncos country. Let's go out there and find some gems in the draft. George Payton, draft like your job depends on it. Because it might. We'll see. We have William Hayes coming in saying, need a middle linebacker. If you got a long-term starter at middle linebacker, round 3, round 4, that'd be great. That'd be cool. For 2023, I think you are okay there. I don't think if you have one that comes in and beats the guys out, that's awesome. But you have your 3 starters from last season from a defense that was pretty good. Josie Jewell, Alex Singleton, and Jonas Griffith. You can do worse. None of those guys are going to be all pro. Nobody's getting their bust ready in Canton. But you have I think an okay room there. The biggest concern for me is the durability of Josie Jewell. But middle linebacker certainly on the table for the Broncos. If a good player fell there, then certainly. I really like, again, Jack Campbell's an awesome player. Drew Sanders from Arkansas, if he fell to the 3rd round, heck yeah, sign me up. I'm not as big on Trenton Simpson. He's a big athlete, but I feel like he doesn't really know what he's doing in space as much. He's much better blitzer than he is a coverage player. I really like Dorian Williams from Tulane as well. He's a player, good blitzer. Really a good one to keep out. It's not a good linebacker class this year overall, though, folks. So we'll see what happens. We got Bruce McInnes coming in saying, I'd love DJ Turner if you fell to us. Thanks for all those cornerback names. I'll go check them out. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, DJ Turner had a great season at Michigan. Michigan also had a nickel cornerback who returned for Michigan for one more year, but he's a lot of fun to watch. He wears number 0. He had a hell of a game when Michigan played Ohio State. And he's a converted slot receiver. This was his first season playing cornerback, and he looked like a damn natural out there at the slot spot. So he's a fun one if you watch them as well. Also, Keith says, good morning, Broncos country, hopeful for the playoffs. God, you and me both and everybody in here. Clayton saying, what are you drinking this morning? Lion coffee. Lion coffee. Thank you so much. Man, Patrick, our guy Patrick, killing it out there in Hawaii, sending us Lion coffee. I'm drinking the macadamia and vanilla one today. It's phenomenal. And Keith Brugman saying, oh no, that sip, we're all in trouble now. I already talk really fast, so this just, puts me at, 1.25 speed. David Bishop says, I'm in Little Rock. Well, God, I'm all good, but a lot of friends still with no power. Yeah, and I really hope you guys don't get hit again today. Hope nobody gets hit again today, but like back to back would be unbelievably horrible. Not about it at all. So hopefully you're okay. I saw that video of it was like a couple in a room holding like a glass door, and they're filming it, and all of a sudden the tornado's on top of them. Don't do that. Go get to safety. It's not worth it for don't do it for the Instagram, or don't do it for the Vine, as the kids used to say. Jeremy says, maybe my worst take, donuts better than bagels. Cream cheese is superior. You can put like protein on it, and egg on a bagel, or egg on a donut. Gross. Egg on a bagel. Amazing. The avocado on there too. Oh God, Jeremy, I don't know about you, man. I like a good donut too, but just all that sugar is too much for me. I need a little bit more substance, and I think the bagel's a little bit better. Elliot D, good morning, Broncos country. Good to see you. We got Gary saying, go Redbirds. Woo! Yeah, definitely a Cards fan here. Sorry to you Rockies guys. I know the Cardinals got the crap kicked out of them yesterday, but is what it is. The Cards actually come out to Seattle here in the end of April, so I'm definitely going to try to get to a few games. Hopefully it'll be good. We got Nigel Watts saying hi from Perth, Western Australia, 9:43 p.m. Pretty late there. Hopefully getting ready for bed. He says, I think Pookie won't be back for the season. 3 ligaments is a bit much. It was either 2 or 3. I thought it was 2, but it was not good. Also, with 1 ligament, it should be 12 months away, which means October for me. Keep him out to next season and surely fit him back. I think it's probably going to be about 16 months. So that would put him out for most of the season. Jamel was saying all good players we're going to miss on all those cornerbacks I named. There's no way that every single one of those cornerbacks I named is going to be gone by pick 76. Never say never. Crazy things happen. But I would assume they'd keep some of those picks. He also said this is why we should have kept our second rounder that we gave the Seahawks. Same page here, Jamil. I think that often. I'm like, man, it'd be really nice if we had our second round pick that's 38 overall or something. That'd be great. Then our center questions would be, just pegging whatever best center is right there, or maybe a good cornerback or something. But yeah, that second round, the first rounder, okay, it's like when it gets around to the second round, it's like, the Seahawks again? You kidding me? Definitely starts to hurt my feelings. Heath Holmes not hurting my feelings. Good morning. And LED, not hurting my feelings at all, getting the super chats rolling. I thought you guys didn't love me for a second. Thank you. I need the validation. Saying good morning from Page, Arizona. Any chance the Broncos trade 2020 for picks to move up and get someone in the first or second they likes if they like that much? I don't think there's any chance unless they're packaging like Judy or a couple players as well first or in part of the deal that they can get up to the first this year. I mean, 67, 68, all the way up to the first is a lot. I think even if you did a 2024 first with that, it'd be pretty hard to get up into the first. And that's huge, huge cost to go up for an uncertain player that's probably going to be a back end of the first round player. So I don't see that happening. Now, that being said, into the second round, you pair 67 with one of those threes you have next season to get up into 55. I wouldn't be for it per se, because I'm kind of tired of drafting with limited draft capital already. And we've already had one draft and another one now with that. But it's certainly possible. If the Broncos like that, they'd probably have to do, we'd see George Payton do a little bit of dancing around with those other picks to recoup capital in that situation. But second round, I think is certainly possible. First round this season, not unless something drastic changes between now and then involving players of the Broncos being traded. Keith also coming back in saying, I keep seeing rumors, trade rumors for Sutton after Sean Payton said there's nothing to worry about. Is it clickbait or do you think we'll lose 14? I think if somebody pays the right price, either the wide receivers would be traded, but doesn't seem like anybody's willing to pay the price. So I don't think either of them are going anywhere. So is what it is. Lance Johnson saying, hey, Nick, an argument is being made to the draft running backs first round because their production is much higher than those in the later rounds. Use them for 5 years while they're cheap and move on. The issue with this, Lance, is that the fifth-year option on the running back is more expensive than the tag. So if you don't use that fifth-year option on the players and then you use the tag, it's still 5 years of control, but you are giving up one of the biggest benefits or just one of the best things about a first-round pick is that fifth-year option. I mean, Jerry Jeudy, Broncos are going to have him under contract next season for like pennies on the dollar because of that fifth-year option. So are you willing just to shred that fifth-year option as soon as you draft a running back round one? If the running back's talented enough, I could hear an argument for it, but that's something that's always a variable to consider when you're talking about running backs, given literally the franchise tag is cheaper on them than using the fifth-year option. That said, I think that my strategy, unless there's somebody you think is special, would be if you're looking for a great running back, one of the first picks in the second round, because then you don't have to worry about that fifth-year option. You still can have 5 years of control. The franchise tag is a great thing to use on the running back if they are healthy. We keep talking about only 2 years left to control with Javonte Williams. Well, guess what? That franchise tag, if he's healthy, is right out there. But if he's healthy, let's hope so. But definitely, if they're good enough, you can consider it. I just don't know about the round one conversation. Zach Powers. But first, Zach shows me it's time to take another sip of coffee. Good morning to you, Zach. Good to see you. Troy coming in here saying, do you think the Broncos have a trade partner for Judy or Sutton on draft day? If the center they want drops? I don't think so. I don't think they have a specific trade partner in mind for a player. I think that there are teams that will be like, okay, we'll see what happens in the draft. If we don't get the wide receiver we want, then maybe we'll circle back around and pay the Broncos the price they want. But it just doesn't seem that the market's there right now. And a big reason I am saying that is because DeAndre Hopkins hasn't even been traded yet. And he's obviously a better player than Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton. And he might be released or they might be traded for a fifth round pick. I mean, what does that say about the market? But Judy's a little different because he's still on his rookie contract, but it'd be interesting. We got our guy Keith coming in again saying Alex Singleton was an animal. Yes, he was. Sinji coming in saying Faion Hicks probably won't make the team before his arrest. Yeah, probably. Zach Powers. Chris Sims has the Roschon Johnson as running back 3. What do you think? I really think him or Chardonnay are the same-ish tier. I think Chardonnay is a little bit more explosive. Roschon Johnson, I was not super impressed with his just quick twitch, his ability to create explosive plays as an athlete, but he's massive. He's smooth, really smart, good player in every phase, and an absolutely dynamic special teams player as well. Core 4 kind of guy. Running back 3, though, seems a little bit high for me. I don't know. I think you have a lot of upside there, but I would probably go with Charbonnet and maybe even A-Chain over him before we'd get to Roschon Johnson. But I really do like Roschon Johnson. He's a really good player. Nick, did you see the Tim Patrick interview on the Small Time Broncos pod? I think that was with Zach, JR, and Bree, if I'm not mistaken. You can correct me on that. Those are friends of the show, friends of mine. So yeah, we like them. Saw a couple tidbits here and there, but nothing too crazy. I'm a pretty busy guy, so didn't see that. Nick, random question: what pound test do you use for a rainbow trout? Typically 4 to 6. I'm catching, alpine lake trout, so they're not monsters out there in the river. And I typically use a leader as well as a double barrel swivel, so something that's a little bit more translucent. So the those rainbow trout living in those alpine lakes with pretty good vision don't get scared of the line they see. But yeah, no, I'm excited. I got a big backpacking fishing trip coming up in end of July. Going to do about 60 miles out in the Sawtooths. So that'll be great. Um, yeah, but Jeremy says your argument the bagel is better base. It's probably true, but donut's better head to head. See, I just don't typically eat bagels by themselves. They're typically with other things as well. So maybe I'll hear your argument for that. But be interesting. Yeah, 5 pound, definitely. Not big ones typically. Nick, do you see the Mike Kliss list of possible prospects the Broncos could target? I have not seen that yet. If you could drop that, I would. We could go through that, or we could go through it tonight with Carl and I. That's actually a pretty good idea. Austin, that's my idea now. I stole it. It came from my head. Appreciate you for that. But maybe Carl and I will do that tonight. Got our guy Diamond Rattler saying, "Boom, let's go." We also got Caden saying, "Do you think this pod will ever get a Broncos player on for an interview at any point?" Maybe, but then I'd have to share the microphone, and Scott always on vacation. I killed Scott. I was tired of sharing the microphone with him. Kept interrupting me. No, I'm just kidding. It'd be great to have a a player on here at some point. It'd be interesting for sure too, because I feel like we don't pull punches. We kind of just say what we think, and right or wrong, you can disagree. That's fine. But I don't know if they would always appreciate some of our analysis, but it would be interesting, no doubt, to have a player on here. And we had Dalton Reisner on here before the draft a few years ago, and a couple other connections as well. So definitely a possible. It's kind of happened in the past. ZZZ saying people don't understand why an NFL player would have an illegal handgun. It's not that complicated. Streets are dangerous, and the legal route takes time and effort. I wouldn't know, but that's I've fired guns before. I'm from the Midwest, but I don't know. I just don't put yourself in a bad situation when you have a lot to lose. But I don't know the exact specifics of the situation. We're talking about Faion Hicks here, and we'll get into that right after we get to Austin H saying you're welcome, and I'll try to find it. I saw it on a post yesterday. I bet you I can find it from Kliss. Kliss does good work. Gary Palmer, $4.99, saying, "Good morning, Nick. Thanks for the tending shop. Broncos for breakfast for life. Go Broncos." Yeah, it was I'm really thank you, Gary, for the support. You love me. You really love me. And we'll keep it. We'll hold down the fort Thursday morning as well. We're giving Scott a little bit of time off for the family stuff. But getting into the main topic of the show, the Broncos had their first arrest in a while, unfortunately, announced yesterday, where Faion Hicks, Broncos' 7th-round pick out of the University of Wisconsin, was arrested on 3 charges in the state of Florida and is now out on bail. Kliss writes in the article, this is where Chad pulled the information from, says Denver Broncos second-year cornerback Faion Hicks is out on bond after he was arrested Saturday on 3 charges filed by police in Hollandale, Florida. According to the court records, the most serious offense was a 3rd-degree felony charge for carrying a concealed firearm. Hicks appeared to be pulled over by police after he disobeyed a stop sign. Besides traffic violation and concealed firearm charge, Hicks was cited for having an expired driver's license for less than 4 months, according to court records. So, again, nothing that is massive issues out there for the Broncos with Faion Hicks. That he's going to be able to overcome this, but it's one of those things. It's like you are in the NFL, and I get he was a 7th-round pick, so he's not swimming in money, but you should the team, and granted it's the off season, but you should have people around you that driving the expired license. Why? You shouldn't have that as an issue. You should be able to take care of that. It's the off season. The 4 months on an expired license. Don't put yourself in that situation. The stop sign and the concealed firearm, again, it's a bad look. Is it an unfortunate circumstance? Yes. Is it something that the team is going to question a player that was already on the bubble with this team? Now you're questioning the decision making. Does this? I don't know about the legalese of this, but does this happening impact later potential issues? Is it going to make it worse if he gets found to have another misdemeanor or anything like that? maybe. So third degree felony. I mean, it's not unserious for sure. So hopefully everybody's safe and fine, and he was released on bail. He's out, but not good for somebody who is going to be fighting for a roster spot to have that happen with the new old ball coach in here, who seems pretty old school. I don't know if he's going to appreciate that so much. So we'll see how it goes. We also got Sunny Days saying appreciate all the hard work. Thoughts on the uniform changes? It does seem like the Broncos are going to go with a white alternate based on their post yesterday. I don't know. The pure white and orange is a great look, but I'm willing to see how it plays out. So I'm excited. I mean, I thought that after they released the Miles April Fool's Day uniform concept with that fake sketch having a white helmet, I'm like, hey, are they telling us something? Is it going to be a white helmet? And then yesterday, or 2 days ago, they released the Instagram post too, but Twitter post showing the ice mountains or something. So it sounds like it's going to be all white, like a white helmet, a white alternate. Could be cool. I don't know. We'll see. Hoping for the best on that one for sure, because I'm not a big fan of the current uniforms, to be completely honest. Benjamin Flores saying, "What's up, Nick? Late for work, but all good because I get Broncos for breakfast." Well, don't say that. Actually, you know what? Tell them that it's my fault. I said that if you leave, I am going. If you're to work on time, I'm going to end the show. And then everybody was ganging up on you, so you really had no choice. It's you're a great worker, punctual as heck, but you had other responsibilities as well. So thank you, Benjamin. He says, "Keep up the great work." Thank you so much. Daniel Swiford saying, I'd be signing Rock Ya-Sin. Broncos should have been considering the cornerbacks out there before Faion Hicks' arrest. Now, I mean, honest to God, who are the Broncos' backup boundary cornerbacks? I can't. Jaquan McMillan. That's all I can name without the depth chart in front of me, off the top of my head this morning, where I've only had a few sips of coffee. I'm pretty low on my coffee. Typically, I'm about halfway through with this by now. But the Broncos definitely need to bring in another cornerback. Maybe it's a position that they are going to wait and see what happens in the draft first. But certainly one that we will consider there. We got our guy Gyla Maples coming in $9.99. You love me. You really love me. Thank you so much, Gyla. We really do appreciate the super sticker and the support. And I can tell, Chad and Zach, that I'm not just some peon, that you guys are here for me. Not the Broncos, not the show. It's the Nick Kendell show. But no, definitely a lot easier. Hope with Scott's having fun. It's a lot easier and more fun with Scott too. But couldn't leave you guys hanging. I like hanging out with all of you. Good morning. Go Nick. Go Broncos. Good to see you. Heath, also, we're having some fun conversations now. So the real debate is flies over lures. Grew up in the mountains of Wyoming on Medicine Bow Range. Prefer Panther Martin spinners. Love Panther Martin spinners too. I'm more of a spinner guy. I got a nice little pack rod that I take in the mountains. Haven't done much fly fishing. I really do want to get into it some, but hasn't been there yet. So haven't had the opportunity yet. Honestly, next November through April out here in Seattle is freaking miserable. And I think next year in November, I might try to get out and spend some time in the Olympics and go hunt some steelhead out in some of those rivers in the Olympic Peninsula. So we'll see. I'll have to figure out some of the fly stuff. But yeah, good to see you, Heath. Good questions here. Flazifi coming in here. Flazifi coming in. I wonder if the Broncos would ever switch up the logo like the Cyber Horse, but the D is cleaner. Does seem like the Broncos are going to definitely have a change coming up here pretty soon. Sophia G Music saying, "Go Russell, go Sogia Fog Music." We appreciate you. Michael also saying, "I have an all white Broncos mini helmet from Riddle Ice. I'm sure it's sick. Would be good." Lance saying, "Do you take a coffee black or do you doctor it some?" I doctor it some. I'm a Midwest boy at heart. I like a little bit of dairy in everything if I can help it. I have actually cheese slices in here. That's how much I'm a dairy fanatic. No, I have a little bit of creamer in here. I do drink coffee black, but most of the time it's on the trail. Backcountry, I have like a little French press that attaches to my backpacking hiking stove, and I'll have black coffee out there, and it's a special treat out there to have that. But I typically do doctor it up a little bit. Angel coming in again saying we have to go back to the Broncos D logo. I feel like we'll get more respect from the league. It's so beloved. It's definitely a better uniform concept overall. I think the logo's cooler, cleaner, and those side swooshes on the current uniform are just not for me. Some people love the current uniform. Maybe it's nostalgia. Maybe they just really do like it. It's not my favorite. I think it's pretty. I think half the league uses navy blue. It seems like also just not for me. We got Austin H coming back in. Says Nick Kliss has Schmitz and Alawatimi as center option guys. The depth. What do you think of those guys? I think John Michael Schmitz would be amazing for the Broncos there. He's got some work to do in pass protection, but he's very strong guard and center. Big, been a good player for the Golden Gophers for a number of years. And I think he'd be a good pick there. Although Atimi, it seems like a smart player, but he is just so limited in his size, power, athleticism that he's going to have to get by just on intelligence. And that's a pretty tough ask for a rookie center to come in and have everything, down pat. Maybe he could be somebody who can be a center option down the line a little bit. He was very good on the Michigan line this season. But I don't know. I think he's more of like a 5th round kind of prospect, in my opinion. But heck, if the Broncos don't end up getting one earlier and they take Oluwatimi, we'll hope for the best. Bruce McKinnis saying, how many bad games before Russ gets benched? I mean, it depends on how bad. Bad is a wide scale there, Bruce. But I think probably 8 to 10 games. If he was really struggling, we might see a change. But it'll be interesting to follow. Hoping for the best on that one for sure. I'm not wishing Russell ill will, but he does seem like he is on thinning ice, and especially with the way the contract is set up there. If he gets injured at the end of this season, I think his 2025 salary gets guaranteed, and that 2025 salary is, I don't know, like 27 million or something. And if the Broncos bench him, they can protect themselves from that injury guarantee, move on from him, then that 2025 guarantee never kicks in. I mean, it's a lot of different factors there to consider. Mark Schrader, $20. This is what we like to see, Mark. Thank you so much. Coming in orange, matching my flag in the background there. $20 is amazing. FC Donnelly also coming in saying, with better coaches in the scheme, Russ shouldn't be having bad games. He still might have some bad games here and there, but he should be better. And I think the offense will be more Russ quarterback, Russ having to play like a demigod quarterback proof. If that makes sense. There's just going to be less on his shoulders. So hopefully the run game and then Russ can be complementary off of that with the play action in the deep game. Seems like that's what the Broncos are trying to build here on this team. And Lance coming in saying, with you on the uniforms, bring back the D and the orange crush. I'd be down for a little bit of an update or something. It doesn't have to be exactly like the old one, but I like the older, lighter blue a little bit more too. And I definitely like the old striped concept rather than the swooshes. The swooshes are gross. Michaela Israel, $3 saying, with the super sticker. Thank you so much, Michaela. Our guy Quentin coming in saying, good morning, y'all. And Jarrett Angel saying, Jarrett Stidham gives me Jake Plummer vibes. I'm rooting for him. We'll see about Jarrett Stidham. It seems like there's a lot of buzz surrounding him, a lot of interesting hype. He's a young player. I think he's only 26, 27 years old. He has great talent. He was a very highly recruited player, flashed in a very small sample size. There's a chance he could end up being a quality starting quarterback. I mean, it's not, I wouldn't say it's likely by any means, but Sean Payton picked him out. Davis Webb picked him out. They see something. They know more than me. So we'll see how it plays out there. Gary Palmer. I hear a lot of negative comments about the uniform, but every Super Bowl one, we wanted this uniform. Just saying. I think the players in the uniforms won that, and not the uniform itself. It does bring back nostalgia, and I get it, and it'd be cool to play with especially the navy blues every once in a while, like they do now. But it's not my favorite. It's a matter of preference. And again, I don't think uniforms win games. I think players win games. So that doesn't really bother me so much. We also got D-Generation X. Good to say. It says I like powder orange. Powder orange. I haven't heard that one. With powder blue would look killer. Definitely. There's some cool concepts out there. And Michaela says maybe it's time to change uniforms to bring back more Super Bowls. They're going to do something. I can almost guarantee that. Jeremy comes in and says Peyton is going to simplify decision-making for Russ. Felt like Russ was processing like Nick's old computer last season. CPU at 100% and it would crash. Luckily, things are going well right now. It would be really hard to run the solo show with the old piece of junk that I had. So good to see things are running here. And guys, we should start wrapping it up here because otherwise my voice is going to give out and I got to get my trash together. It's trash day. But I did want to talk a little bit first about a 3-round mock draft from Mike Renner, PFF's lead draft analyst out there in Cincinnati, Pro Football Focus in Cincinnati. And he did a 3-round mock draft. Now, he didn't give us any content. Scott saying, dang, this guy is so much better without the other guy. Scott, we miss you. Hope you're doing well in Orlando. You should not be on, though. We're doing okay, though, with Scott here. Cheers to you, mate. I need a little coffee sip, so we're doing good. That's good stuff. God, that's yummy. But Mike Renner did a 3-round mock draft with the Denver Broncos with 2 picks here, and I thought it was pretty interesting for the Broncos here. So he has the Broncos going at pick 67. Cornerback Clark Phillips III. A little hint for those of us earlier. We talked about Phillips III from Utah. And then also, he has the Broncos going with wide receiver Cedric Tillman out of Tennessee, who I really like Cedric Tillman. But Clark Phillips is a very undersized player for the Utah Utes. Played boundary cornerback out there, I believe. God, give me 1 second while I pull up his mock draftable because I'd rather have the actual data in front of me when I talk about him. But I believe he was minuscule. Yeah, 5'9", 184 pounds with I hate this one, 29 and an eighth arm length in the first percentile. You don't like to see that. If he was short, but he had, like some 31-inch arms, and that'd be one thing. But 29 and an eighth is not great. But a very instinctual player, good tackler, tenacious for his size. I don't know. I think that you're talking the third round. You're always going to have some players with some limitations there. But here's some cornerbacks that are listed a little bit later in this mock. Keely Ringo, all the way down at 72 overall. I mean, I know the Broncos have done some work on Keely Ringo. Maybe they'd take a chance on an athlete there. Anthony Johnson Jr. is listed as, I thought I saw him in here. Antonio Johnson, safety, but he plays like slot safety. So maybe he's somebody, if you want to bolster that secondary, could be an option there. Garrett Williams, Syracuse, a little bit further down. Darius Rush, 90th overall. So there's some options here at cornerback. It does seem like the cornerback well dries up pretty quickly here. Unfortunately, the one pick before the Broncos, he has the Cardinals going DJ Turner. So that would have been probably my pick there out of those ones, but is what it is. Jeremy Sean says, you're telling me, morning, Scott. Scott, no, we miss you. Hope you're doing well. And as he says, can't stay. Hope you all having a great morning. It's been pretty good. We also got Daniel Swafford saying, Ray Crockett 2.0, let's go. Yeah, Clark Phillips would be a good player. He's a fun one. I really don't like the minuscule, tiny arm length for a player that, in order to make plays on the football and contested catch situations, you would like some length at cornerback personally. I think defense in the NFL is kind of going how defense in the NBA went a few years ago. I don't really care too much about the height, but give me length. I want some guys who can scratch their knees without having to bend over. But Clark Phillips there would be a fine one. And then Cedric Tillman. I really like Cedric Tillman. Cedric Tillman's been probably one of my favorite wide receivers in this draft class. Now, this season, he played with a high ankle sprain, which I thought zapped a good bit of his overall athleticism. But his tape in 2021 was awesome, and he's a thick boy. He's a very sturdy player. 6'3", 215 pounds, 32 3/4 arm length, and tested pretty good. Overall, I think he's been a pretty good player for the Tennessee Volunteers, and it would be an interesting one. I think that the Broncos might be looking for a little bit more of a speed option there, rather than the pure, big body type of player that we're seeing here. But would be interesting to see what the Broncos do. There are other wide receivers that come off the board there a little bit later. We got Michael Wilson from Stanford, who had an awesome Senior Bowl. Dealt with a number of injuries, though. Tyler Scott from Cincinnati goes 80 overall. I might go Tyler Scott there. Marvin Mims, 82. We haven't talked enough about Marvin Mims. He would be an awesome pick for the Broncos. I really like Marvin Mims. You got Jonathan Mingo at 89. So there's a number of Jaden Reed, all guys we kept talking about the Broncos taking in the fourth round when we've done the simulators, but they're down here in this one. So definitely some options here for the Broncos. I don't know if I would have gone with Cedric Tillman, just given where the Broncos are at with the position, but definitely somebody that I understand. The very next pick, though, is probably the one I would have gone. He has the Baltimore Ravens taking Keon White, who's an athletic freak, edge rusher, defensive lineman, to the Baltimore Ravens. You can never have enough of those guys. So I probably would have leaned into the athletic freakism of Keon White or Zach Harrison, who went a little bit later, rather than Cedric Tillman, just to take a chance on athleticism and upside. But would have been interesting to see, and not a bad haul overall, in my opinion. Clark Phillips' arm length scares me, but his tape is much better than the athletic profile. We got DWI guys coming in. Raspberry saying, great show, Han Solo Kendell. You took your dog to the game last night. Yes. Yep. I took Summit to the baseball game. He was overall pretty good. Getting to the seats was a little bit much. He was definitely overstimulated and trying to say hello to every single person we passed that didn't even make eye contact with him. He tried to force them to make eye contact. But once we got to the seats, he calmed down pretty good. So, although there's a few close calls with some hot dogs of the people in front of us, swinging it. No, his head is right there. Careful. I don't know if I'd be eating in the dog section of the stadium, but it was a good time, without a doubt. Kevin Gray saying lots of snow here in Utah. Well, stay safe. Angel saying, honestly, it doesn't matter who we draft as long as they are effective and can add value on the field. Definitely a center would be great. And Michael Ronquillo saying, great show today, Nick, on Broncos for breakfast. Have a great day and go Broncos. And my beautiful dog. Yeah, he's a handsome boy. We call him Stinky though. Just constantly we Stinkerillo. We also call him Scumberton, Scum. Just all the fun names that we have. And Fallen Sloth said, I thought I was just going to watch a recording, but I managed to catch the end of the show. Awesome. Well, it is the end of the show. So we already had our closer come in, and Ethan with a $50. Thank you so much, Ethan, for coming in and supporting us. We really do appreciate that. Gary Palmer coming in, Michaela Israel, Mark Schrader, the big time love, Gyla Maples, Gary Palmer coming in again. Obviously, Michael Ronquillo, Elliot D. You guys are killer today. We really do appreciate you. If I missed anybody, I do apologize. Writing solo, I'm doing my best to have all the information that I'm talking about in front of me while following the chat, while keeping a stream of consciousness going, while all the things. So if I missed anybody, really do appreciate you coming in. But that is going to have to wrap it up today. I got to get going. Make sure you're following myself on Twitter at Nick Kendell MHH. And also make sure you're following us at BFB_pod and at Mile High Huddle. If you haven't done so yet, join us at Facebook at facebook.com/Mile High Huddle and facebook.com/Mile High Huddle pod. Go to Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star rating and review saying, for the love of God, don't have Nick do solo shows. He's the worst. I can't stand it. He takes too many coffee sips, all that. That'd be great. We'll hear from you. But for real, Apple Podcast, 5-star rating and review would be really helpful. We appreciate that. And please subscribe, like, and share on YouTube. I got nothing else. I got no more thoughts to give on the football side. I'm all squeezed out. So you guys have a great rest of your day. If you have any questions for me, again, hit me up on Twitter at Nick Kendell MHH. I'm pretty active on there. And continue to choose kindness and compassion every day. Go Broncos.